Hello, everyone. How are you today?
Good.
Good.
Good, Commissioner Grindstaff. Hope you are.
Doing pretty good, sir. Doing pretty good. I don't know if any of y'all have any other people that are supposed to come talk or not, but we have a individual, Mark Hall, here that's on the meeting. He has a little presentation to give. So when we get ready, if it's okay, if we can start building and grounds first, I'd appreciate it.
That's fine with me. We've got two as well, and I think Abraham McIntyre and Chad Colbert are on for our agenda, and I've asked Caroline Hurt to come on if she's available. So, but fine, Chairman Grindstaff, you go ahead.
Okay. Gwen, if you...
Chairman Grindstaff, Brad Johnson.
Sir?
I just want to make you aware that I don't know if anybody else had problems, but I was not able to open up the PDF files that you sent out. They had a flag to it, and I didn't have the numbers or whatever it is to get past it.
Okay. I don't know if anybody else had any issues or not.
Well, I made contact with Abby, and Abby said that she had also had trouble. I don't know if she got by it. Of course, she may have a greater knowledge in operations than I do, but I worked every number I knew what to get past it and never could. Matter of fact, it was only one step from the window to be open, and this thing go completely out the window in a real haste.
Well, I don't really want you to do that, Brad.
Well, it ain't nothing you can control.
And staff, this is Mark with HSC. Is it you want me to go ahead and get started, or?
Hold on one second for me. We'll have to, I'm going to send these documents out to everyone, make sure that they have them. And then I'll go ahead and ask Gwen, if you will, please, to go ahead and call the roll. It is, by my watch, 6:03. So we'll go ahead and call Building and Grounds Committee to order.
Mr. Grindstaff, can I also get a copy of the agenda emailed to me?
It should have been emailed to you.
Okay, I didn't see it. I'll check again. Okay, Randall Jenkins.
Here.
Mike Hill. Mike Hill.
Here.
Robert Acuff.
Here.
Brad Johnson.
Here.
Thomas Profit.
Here.
Ginger Holdren.
Yes, I'm here.
Daniel McIntyre.
Here.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Here. All right. Thank you very much. Everybody's present. Of course, we're holding this meeting in conjunction with the governor's guidelines for electronic meetings due to COVID. And I greatly appreciate you all joining with us. That's everybody that's joined in. And give me just one second. I'm having trouble sending an email, apparently.
Isaiah, I was able to open some of them I wasn't.
Okay.
That was pretty much the same for me, Isaiah. I was able to get some of them open finally, but there was one or two that it just kept giving me an error message.
Okay. And I'll just add these to this and send this out. Minions should get them right here in just a second. That'd be the building and ground ones. That'd be the agenda, the copy of the BAS or the slides, and then the agenda request from the mayor would be for the election office. So
I've got it.
All right.
I do too.
All right. With that being said, on our agenda, if I can, now that everybody has that, give you a chance to look over it. I do have a amendment to add to the agenda, be under new business, be 5B. Whenever I was typing this out, I accidentally left off. It's Building Automation Systems Presentation, be by Mark Hall. And I'll open the floor for approval.
I make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I'll second.
A motion by Commissioner Holder and a second by Commissioner Jenkins. Any other discussion, questions, comments? Seeing none, Ms. Gwynn, please call the roll.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Abstain.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Daniel McInturf,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes. Be all ayes, one abstention. Motion passes. The approval of December minutes, I don't think those got sent out. I didn't see them. So we'll go ahead, if that's okay, we'll bypass that and we'll go ahead to public comments. Is there any member of the public that would like to speak on building and grounds matters at this time? All right. Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move into new business. New business, Section A is Carter County Election Office, be the roof leak replacement. I think that the Mayor Woodby would like to kind of speak on it. And if not, I have her email that was sent out.
That's fine. Maintenance just notified me yesterday. That's why we sent it to you last minute, that it's leaking and it's been leaking for a while. We have a roofing company coming over from Kingsport next week to kind of give us an idea of how much it would cost to replace it, so we can decide if it's going to be a quote situation or we're going to have to put it out for bid. Just by speaking to our maintenance guy, Ron, who's pretty knowledgeable, he's thinking at a minimum, and he's really not sure just because of the cost of materials nowadays with the virus, he's thinking of a minimum of $25,000. So we were thinking to allocate up to $40,000 to see what it's actually going to cost. But I will know more by next week once we have that first quote in. But it's a rubber roof, and I think there's particulars in replacing those. So it has to be a particular roofing company that can do those.
Do you know if whenever we took over the building from 911, do you happen to remember, or anybody happen to remember, repairs were made to the roof? If they just, if Mayor Humphrey stopped at repairs, or if they ended up doing a complete replacement of the roof. Brad, do you happen to remember that?
I know they had some work done. I don't know if it was a replacement or not, but if it is a rubber membrane roof, if it was replaced, then it should be no more time than this, but it should have been 100% covered.
I think my recollection is it was replacement, like not fully replaced, but just repairs. I'm sorry.
Just extra repairs, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I remind you that on the funding basis of it, then when they go in for the money, they can bring that without any problems out of the capital improvement fund.
That's what we're asking it from. I put it on the Isaiah has it on the agenda from the capital improvement fund. Yeah, but we just kind of wanted to go ahead and get it moving in case it does have to go out for bid, because that process will take a little bit, and it's leaking.
Where's it, if you don't mind me asking, where's it leaking at?
Abby, can you remember where Ron said it was leaking at? He kind of came in a hurry yesterday telling us about it.
There are a few different spots in the roof that they were showing us, that there's sections of it that have blistered up, and it's creating bubbles in that rubber roof. Mm-hmm. I know the sections we've worked on in the past, there was one that was around the air conditioning unit that we replaced in the last 2 years, that were repaired it, not replaced. And then another area over the room where they actually store the voting machines. had to be patched earlier this year, I believe it was, or maybe it was late last year. But I know at least 2 different times since I've been in this office that we've had companies out to patch up spots, and they've pretty much said at this point you can't patch it.
Yeah. The reason I was asking is because whenever that was 911's, that backside that used to be, or where the parking area is, if you're staring at the front of the building, far right-hand side where, what was it, Red Cross used to be, that was always the issue that they had over there, was it leaked pretty considerably. And I know that was a portion that if it was replaced, that would have had to have been replaced or repaired, I guess would be the best word. So I was just curious if it was in kind of the same area or if it had spread. So, okay.
One of the leaks we had patched since I've been in here was in that same area you're talking about, because they actually use that side to store the machines now. But this one, there's several spots along the whole roof that they showed us were bubbled up.
Okay. Well, if it indeed did not get replaced and it was only repaired under Mayor Humphreys, then it is definitely probably over time for that to have occurred. So, does anybody have any comments or questions? And to fill Commissioner McInturf and them in, we have a fund that is funded, half of the monies that are returned by offices at the end of the year go into this capital improvements or capital outlay fund for building repairs, major renovations, and things of that nature. And that's where Mayor Woodby is asking for those monies to come out of, would be up to $40,000 from that capital improvements fund. An email was sent out by Finance Director Burke back in the end of November, beginning December timeframe, and I think there was about $800 and some thousand in that reserve, if I'm not mistaken. So there's plenty of money there to be able to cover that. So, but any other questions or comments for the mayor? All right, seeing none, I'll open the floor for any motions.
I just want to make sure I'm right. Do we need a motion set in place to get to start the bid process if we need to? Is that
what they're asking for is the approval up to the $40,000 mark to go ahead and send that off to budget to allow them to go ahead and move those monies to get them set aside, from what I understand, pending on an estimate being turned in as to whether or not that needs to be put out for bid, or those repairs temporarily at least could take place, or I guess replacement could take place.
Well, that sounds like a good motion, Isaiah. Thanks for saying that out loud.
Can you repeat it back to me, Randall?
Don't test me.
Put it to music.
do. No. Yeah. Okay. I'll put that in the form of a motion to send that to budget up to, or approving up to that amount. So for approval.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Mr. McInturf.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Jenkins, second by Mr. McInturf. Commissioner McInturf. Any other further questions? All right.
I didn't make a motion on that just because I'm unaware of pricing. I just felt like $40,000 sounds awfully high for repairs and not replacement, but my knowledge is so limited, I don't really know how to respond.
Well, we figured we'd kind of get a jump start on it. It's obviously either going to have to be bid out or it's going to have to be quoted. By the time I get the estimate next week from the company that's coming over, we will know in that realm. But we just kind of wanted to get a jump start on the process, because if we do have to bid it, we know that's going to take a couple of months, and it's leaking right now. That was the only reason we kind of jumped ahead on it, just to get it moving and get the process started. But Ron just kind of thought off the top of his head. He was thinking no more than 25,000, but with the virus and all the cost of materials being so high now, that may double that. Nobody's really sure. So that's kind of just a ballpark. I mean, what we kind of think. And I'll know more next week when they do the actual quote.
Commissioner Holdren.
Yes, Daniel.
I believe that that is a very labor intensive process as well. I don't think it's like a normal roof, like at your home. I think the process, from what I can understand through the school system, is very labor intensive and takes a lot more manpower to do so. So the cost is probably going to be significantly more than a normal roof.
I guess my thinking is if it has been giving us problems this many years, do we want to keep repairing it or do we want to replace it with a different type of roof?
I think the goal, Commissioner Holden, is to replace it. I don't think that you could replace it necessarily with a different type. It would still probably have to be that rubber membrane, depending on how the actual roof is laid out and built, and then just would be completely replaced, similar to what Mayor Humphreys was able to do with the sheriff's office and court annex building here. Well, I won't say a couple of years ago. That's been several years ago now. He was able to get that fully replaced, and it of course had to go out to RFP. But I think that this will start the process to get this into budget to hopefully allow them to start moving forward on this, considering the fact that it is the rainy season and is already leaking. So I think that that's the goal. Any other comments or questions or concerns? All right, hearing none. Ms. Gwynn, if you will, please call the roll.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Daniel McInturf,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes. All right, 8 ayes, motion carries. I'll be in touch with building grounds. This is building grounds with budget, and go ahead and make them aware and get that on the agenda, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Isaiah.
All right, Mr. Hall, you still with us?
Yeah.
All right. I'll go ahead and turn this over to you. You can give your, if you will, give your introduction and just kind of your presentation. I will add those slides that you sent us. I did send those out. It does appear that a couple of individuals had issues accessing them, but they should have them in their mailbox to be able to review. The mayor had approached me about asking him to come in and give a presentation, and I wholeheartedly agreed. I think that this is maybe something we need to look at going towards in the future. And at that point, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you all, actually. Thank you for what you do for Elizabeth. And is my screen being shared at this moment?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. So to talk with you about energy management, I did approach Miss Woodby, and she got back in touch with me about maybe an older courthouse that you had that was an energy problem. We do a lot with K through 12 schools in the area. We're a mechanical contractor for HVAC. We have helped the city of Sevierville with quite a bit of success, actually. David Kurd is a resource to us in the town of Sevierville, and he speaks very highly of what we did to help that town out. We've also had projects in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. We just help folks save money each month on their energy bills. And starting last year, we've been approached with more and more issues on air quality and how to manage things like that. I just have a few slides. I won't talk very long here. Our larger company, you can see some of our affiliate brands there that you probably recognize. This is what we do. We do building automated systems. So this should be familiar even in your home. You have electricity, you have water, and you have gas. Wouldn't it be great to know what those are doing each day, which ones are costing you the most money, and how to curtail those. Well, with the building automated system, we can do that. We can do that relatively easily. Here is something new that customers have been asking for. We call it the flower. You can see it on the left side there. But CO2 levels, how long does it take to change our filter? How much fresh air are we getting through our buildings? What is the organic compounds, the particulates in the room? Building automated systems can accumulate this stuff, and it is real data. But it helps us save money too. If you notice on the right, there's a high-rise building. You can see very quickly green areas that are doing well, and then you can see some floors that are starting to lag behind a little bit. So the yellow or red or orange would catch our eye, and we would see areas that would be in need of energy adjustment. Perhaps we'd find those relatively quick in your courthouse. It was a city hall building that we did at Sevierville, and we found some problems quite quick in that building. This is what sets ALC apart from the beginning. For decades, they've done thermographs. Green is good. So real quickly, you get a good estimation of what's going on in the building. You can see areas that maybe are not quite as good as others. And so you would know areas to focus in on. These screens are highly customizable. This is just something that we do for customers. This would be a footprint of your courthouse or even a number of buildings throughout the city. It could be on the same system. This may or may not interest you. If you are a technician, these parts and pieces are already in your buildings. So these are the things that break or give us problems from day to day. Chillers, boilers, rooftop units, air conditionings. You get so much information off of this stuff if you choose to. The green level things here are in your building. What you're seeing is up in the blue level on a computer screen or on your cell phone or tablet at your house. Down in Chattanooga, that we did the school systems. I think we're in 42 schools in Chattanooga. And what's interesting to me is when they get a snow day, their energy manager wakes up and pushes one button that says snow day, and all of his school systems go into an energy savings mode. So he claims that 10 additional teachers are employed because of the energy savings that he saves in that city each year. Just some things, when you get your slides, this will be on that presentation, but how much you want to save. Well, you have to understand your problem, collect data, and then you can schedule changes, you can trend problems, you can economize and optimize. All this can be done with the BAS. We're glad to help with this. We do this for many people throughout East Tennessee. Some more pictures. You can see trends. You know what's happening from month to month. Bar graphs, pie charts. All of it's very picture oriented with greens, reds, yellows, oranges. That's really all I have to say. Building automated systems are nothing new. They've been around for decades. We are a larger one and we're well established. We have brick and mortar here in Knoxville, but we go throughout East Tennessee, and we are glad to serve the area that we call home. Any questions, I would be happy to answer anything that you would like to know.
Mr. Hall, what's the name of your company again?
HSC. It stands for Hughes Supply Company.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Chairman Grunstein.
Ma'am.
Mr. Hall, we did reach out to me, and I just thought it would be of interest to the committee to bring this in and discuss it. I know I spoke with our finance director, Brad Burke, and I don't know if anybody's aware how much we pay just out of the general fund for electricity. It's around $225,000 a year, and for the past 3 years, it's fluctuated each year. So that's just the ballpark figure. What we're paying out of the general fund for electricity. So it's just something I wanted to see if the committee would be interested in and getting some information on.
Sir, inside the building system, some of the services and stuff that you usually look at, do you look at automating lights and things of that nature for like rooms and office spaces and things of that?
Yes, that's exactly what we do. Our main customer is a K through 12 school. So we are in about a dozen counties throughout East Tennessee. We're in new construction, and we also modify existing buildings.
Okay. As the mayor may have told you, we currently have quite a few buildings that are under our purview, and one set of those we're currently looking at. We call it it's Great Lakes, but it's the Workforce Development Complex. That is something that we're currently in talks with an architect to kind of redo and remake. It's an older group of buildings. I'm not sure about the date off the top of my head, and it has a lot of when it comes down to it, environmental concerns as far as how does it handle its electric, how the windows need to be replaced, things of that nature. So that may be definitely something that we can look at in the future. Where would the next step, the process be, if we to kind of get an idea of how we would kind of make that decision-making process of moving forward?
Yeah, we would love to see one of your buildings or several of your buildings. I could bring a few of our engineers with us, and we could do an informal walkthrough. We could have a ballpark figure from something like that, just to see if it's something you're interested in pursuing or not.
Okay. And one of the things that we have to watch is, because this technically would be a service, would be depending on cost, of course, for implementation, we'd have to do out an RFP and things of that nature. And of course, you understand that as far as, if it was to come in over,
yes,
I think it's $25,000, then that would definitely have to be something that we would have to look at.
Yeah, quite a bit of what we do is a competitive bid process. We understand that.
Okay.
Chairman Grindstaff.
Ma'am.
Because we've got some new members, everybody's not aware, but Building and Grounds did discuss this last year, pretty early in the year. And I know at least one company was in talks with Chairman James. So I know that this is something that will save the county money, and we certainly need to do it. We'll just have to, I guess, go through the process of finding the right company to meet our needs.
And a lot of what I notice here in the buildings is, I know we use the Johnson controls, but I'll come in the office in the mornings and it'll be, even the thermostat set on 70, will be cold. And many employees here are still using small heaters at their desk. Everybody's running heaters throughout the whole building. It's just, it'll be warm on one end that you can't stand it, and cool on the other end. And you can actually feel the wind blow through the windows in my office. It's that breezy through here. And it's to me is a huge, it's costing us quite a bit of money.
Yeah, I think that you're absolutely correct. I know that the heating and air for especially your side of the building, Mayor, has always had some issues, and it's always seemed like it's been batted around back and forth, just because it's the control side. Well, no, it's the mechanical side. Well, it might be the control side, and I think that that's definitely something that we need to try to get a better handle on, as well as, it appears that there's several different areas on top of heating and air, which we could potentially capitalize on. So I agree with Commissioner Holder. I think that it's just a matter of, just kind of getting an idea of what a walkthrough kind of looks like, maybe with HSC, and then ultimately maybe start crafting some sort of RFP to look at maybe the courthouse there as a short-term kind of a how does it work best for us, and then start moving forward that route.
And another situation that just got brought to my attention, Randall's office, the heating and air is fighting each other. The boiler is pushing out the heat on the back side of their office, and the air is pushing out to fight it. So it's working overtime with each other, and there's no way to correct it. So one side of their office stays warm, the other side stays cool. So it's a constant battle with those two systems, and there's really no way for that office to maintain what it's doing. So it's running all the time. So I can't imagine what that's costing to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I definitely think that it's something worth. I kind of remember a company coming in and doing a kind of a presentation similar to this in the past. I think that it is time to start looking at that RFP process and start kind of seeing what their criteria are, what they look at in the building, kind of the information we need to be able to give them out, and then craft out a RFP, and if it be the will of the committee, and then go that route. So. Is there any other questions from any of the commissioners or anyone for Mr. Hall? All right. Seeing and hearing none. Mr. Hall, I greatly appreciate you. I think that we'll probably kind of be in touch and just kind of get an idea of the information and things that you all would require, and just kind of start looking at kind of drafting that RFP out, bring it in front of the building and grounds, have this discussion on where we need to take it and what we need to ask for, and then look at moving forward.
Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hall.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll go ahead and move right along. Courthouse security update. I did receive an email earlier today. We were supposed to start our discussions or our meetings back with Reedy and Sykes and the contractors. I think that that's been postponed. The original date for the doors is actually the end of this month for the ship date for them to be received. So I think that according to the email, we'd start that towards the end of the month, beginning of next month. That's how I understood that, Mayor.
That's correct.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and move right along with that. The Sluter property update. I didn't know if I've just been leaving this on here until we get everything completely finished out.
It's still about the same with the weather and everything, but we've had so much projects around these buildings that Ron and Roy are going to try to plan to get up there hopefully by the end of the month and get everything hooked up on it and get the locks changed out on it also. Just trying to get some things taken care of around here that keep popping up for those guys. So we're definitely, it's on the list.
Okay. The ADA transition plan.
I spoke with Gary today, and he said that he was going to try to get with Ginger to schedule them getting together and working on this. And I also spoke with finance director, Mr. Burke, and he said that the money has to be allocated and spent on this by June 1, or we lose it. He made me aware of that yesterday, and he didn't know where we were at on it, and I really wasn't sure either. So I reached out to Gary, and he kind of told me a few things have been done, but he was going to plan on getting with Commissioner Holdren. Ginger, I don't know if you want to reach out to him. I'm not real sure. I just kind of got an update from him today to be able to report to the committee.
I'll be glad to. Chairman Grindstaff, do you want me to do that, sir?
Yeah, I have no as far as I have no information. I mean, if you have some more information that you can give. I know that you had been talking with continuing to talk with Gary, with Director Smith about this. So if you want to continue to do that. And I did have an update on the amount of money. It was $25,000 total that had been set aside between, I think, monies we'd originally set aside plus the additional monies from the governor's funds that were released. So we have $25,000, I believe, to spend as long as those are appropriated before June the 1st. So. Sorry, I was looking that up. I got to get back to my agenda. There we go. All right. I know the paving's complete. I apologize. I accidentally left that one on there. Paving at the planning and probation offices was complete, and I believe last time you said that you had the county would actually save some money off the original cost of that.
Yeah,
so that's
actually did save some money on it. Yes.
Yep. So that's a very good deal. The Cowan office building for a potential archive department, Commissioner Holden, do you have any update on them receiving an appraisal?
Yes, Chairman Grindstaff. Ms. Cowan did reach out to me last week to let me know that she does have an appraisal in her possession now, but I have not gotten with her to go over that because I was sick last week and the holidays, etc. But I will do that as soon as possible. We should definitely have something to discuss by the February meeting at the latest.
Okay, that's good. I was just main concern there, or main curiosity there, was just if they had finally gotten their appraisal back. So that'll be hopefully some good news that we can maybe start looking forward to as well.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. I greatly appreciate it. Northeast State contract. I know that that's continuing on.
Yeah, and I don't have any kind of an update yet on that either.
Chamber of Commerce building.
Josh has reached out to Daniel Estes about letting him know that the county can purchase city property. And so he said he wanted to reach out with Roger Day. And as of right now, Roger Day has not gotten back to him with that information.
Okay. With the holidays and things, that's understandable.
If you want to keep it on there until and I'll update next month.
All right. The Workforce Development Complex, ma'am, do you want to take that?
Yes. Did you get both my emails that I forwarded you on the updates?
Yes, I did.
Okay, because I emailed with Tim on the workforce. Let's see which one. That's the clerk and master. They did go up and visit with Ron, and they did find some original drawings that were actual penciled drawings, original, like archive material, he said, and he wanted to get those back to us. They are digitizing those, but they were for the Northeast State building. There is nothing for the workforce, so those will have to be done. He said he's patched them up and sent them to Knoxville for scanning into digital format documents, and he's waiting on those to be returned this week. And they started an as-built drawing process, and they are proceeding under the request made by the county's RFP. So they're in the process of getting these done.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And then the chancellor's, I know it says chancellor's new door, the door for clerk at master's office.
Yes. They're about 2/3 complete on the drawings. They had to come in and do a floor plan for the fire marshal's approval, for the state fire marshal. And they submitted those for review and approval. Ron had to actually come and walk through the bottom floor and take a couple of hours and do those with Tim last week. So I set them two up together because he's very familiar with the area. And as a part of the process, they had to draw the entire first floor of the building for their reference sake. And that's kind of where they're at on that. They're just waiting for those to be approved to begin the next step.
Okay. And of course, we had asked for $2,000 additional to be approved during the December commission meeting. Of course, that was granted. So for right now, it's a total of $4,000 total that has been approved for that project. So
both projects seem to be moving right along with Shaw and Shanks. I keep updated with him. We talk quite often. I've got to really know those guys. So it seems great couple of guys.
Awesome. That's great. With that being said, we'll go ahead and move into commissioner comments. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, comments, anything that they'd like to see next month, or anything they'd like to go ahead and bring up and talk about briefly this month?
Mr. Chair, Brad Johnson.
Sir, go ahead.
In our last committee meeting, wasn't Shaws and Shanks supposed to provide us with a breakdown on the cost for doing the preliminary study and all for the workforce development up there?
According to the email that we received back from Shaws and Shanks, they are moving forward with the initial contract of that was approved under that plan. And I'll send the email out as well, but it says, we're proceeding under the request made via the county's RFP that we responded to last August.
Last August, that didn't know me. I know we were in communications and all, but and then to what was reported that they had started the as-built, which doing the as-built for our property affair is one of the key, most important parts of it. And it's something that initially is done that is used throughout the whole total project, you know, on our property affair. And it's a historical document that's always with the buildings. So it's not something that'll be done this month and forgot of, because it'll always be worked off of. And then that, if they get the as-built done, of course, that'll give this committee, the mayor and other office holders and the tenants that we have, the piece of paper that shows layouts and all, and it will help in our coordination and lease of the property, and for, you know, potential new leasers in the buildings where we have vacancies in.
Correct. And I think that they're prioritizing right now is those as-builts, because like you said, as you know, without having those, and that's something that we've talked about as a committee, well, for 4 years, 6 years now, about trying to get a better copy of as-builts, or in some cases, any drawings. And it sounds like if they're going to do both for the chancellor or the clerk and master's door, if they're having to do a lower floor plan, granted it'll be, you know, simple in their requirements there to meet the minimum requirements for the state fire marshal's office, then that will give us a good starting place at the mayor's courthouse to continue out and finish those as-built and expand on those, as well as if they are thankfully, according to their email, like the mayor had said, that they had found some originals for those buildings at Great Lakes that seems like a very good place to start. Then we should start getting those as-built as they get those completed as well. And we'll just kind of tie that in with the next project of where do we want those buildings to go, which the discussion, you know, of course, has been in conjunction with the schools, both Northeast State and the county schools as well. So,
well, they should be, keep in mind, and for all the committee or even the full commission, anytime we go in on a building venture of such size we are, one of the primary things, but besides the preliminary, is to dedicate or commit or assign somebody someplace to work all the as-built and the submittals of anything that we use in these buildings to renew, refresh, update, to remove inundation and everything else, where those records can be maintained, because even after construction of a building, you always have maybe a defective item. And normally when construction in government buildings is over with, there's nobody left standing to be able to cope with it or to identify it or know where to go find replacement. These as-built are very critical because you save a lot of money when you have to go back out to an AE firm for additional work, and they're standing there and we have no records whatsoever to show what the prior works have been done. As you know, just like the jail annex, our new jail, I had conserved a complete set of working drawings and specs and submittals in the building over there. And after retirement, went back to reference to them, and there's not one sheet of paper left. They all made the dumpster now. And that's the same with anything, just like at our courthouse, the existing courthouse. All the projects that we have done, see if you can find records of them. Even if you can, they need to be, we need to keep in mind to keep these things consolidated, just like we do our archives of all of our other departments.
Right, and you bring up a very valid point. I can tell you, we have a set of as-builts. Revision 9, I think, is the most up-to-date as-builts that was issued out on the detention center. We have a couple of copies of those, both a small form factor and a large form factor. But you're absolutely correct, and it's very vital. In fact, my opinion is, and of course, shouldn't be giving my opinion, but my opinion is that's another function for the county archives department, is when that gets established, if that gets established, then that is an absolutely wonderful location for anybody to be able to access those and copies of those given necessity. Because I know that sometimes office holders change, and I know things get kind of tossed around in the air, and that would be a great location for those to be kept. But that's just my.
One of the other departments that we may want to give consideration to, because they're always an involvement, is maintaining the as-built by the planning department. It being a common single place, and we are in the process of maybe expanding or moving or relocate or whatever, and that should come into play to where there's one central location that we can go to this just for building purposes, building and grounds purposes. Because normally, in larger establishments like that, where I was the engineer at the VA, they had just one particular building, and that building only, with the technicians and engineers. That's where every as-built ever since 1902 was kept in. And they were always constantly updated from the time of its initial completion, up to date, to where any AE firm could come in and pick up and go with the as-built and their accuracies. And that also reduced a large amount of their contract prices because they didn't have to do as much work.
Correct. I don't disagree with you at all. Anyone else have anything to add, questions or comments, concerns?
Chairman Grindstaff, ACUF First District.
Sir.
Another item that goes along with that, I certainly agree with your comment regarding those plans and other official documents as part of the archives. But we also have a planning department that would be a wonderful place to make sure those documents find a home as well. They probably would be easier access than they would be at archives, but for any of us that need information, it would be nice to walk into planning and say, can you provide me with the schematics for building X? Just only a suggestion. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Anyone else?
Commissioner Grindstaff, I just wanted to let the committee know that I don't know if she sent an email out that the UT Extension office is temporarily closed. They have a couple of people out with the virus, so they're all working from home right now and not really sure when they'll open back up.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. We definitely hate to hear that. Anything else? Seeing none, I'll open the floor for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
I got a motion by Ms. Holdren, second.
Second, Thomas Prophet.
Second by Commissioner Prophet. Ma'am, if you will, please call the roll.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Daniel McInturf,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes. That being said, all 8 ayes, motion carries. Building grounds is adjourned. Please stay tuned to the next meeting.
If there are no objection, I'll call to order health and welfare. In terms of the agenda and the roll call, we'll go off for the record, the roll call vote for building and grounds. And before we approve the agenda, I'd like to ask or add 2 additional items. One, I've asked Carolyn Hurt to join us to give us a quick update for vaccine distribution and any other thing that she would like to say to health and welfare. And then following the Appalachian Opportunity Fund presentation, Jillian Reese sent me a document which each of you should have received regarding recognition of some of the things that they do for Carter County drug prevention. And I'd like to add that as 6 and let the other items drop down. So if there are no objection, after public comment, we'll have Caroline chime in, and then Mr. McIntyre's group with Appalachian Opportunity Fund present, and then a discussion of Jillian Reese request.
Chairman Aco.
Yes.
I see Ray Bell on. I know I've requested him be on the agenda from the AirMed Care. I didn't see him on the agenda. He is on with us.
Okay. Well, we're I'm happy to add him. Mr. McIntyre did reach out to me. I didn't hear from Mr. Bell unless my email, if I overlooked it, I apologize to him. So why don't we just have him follow their presentation if that's okay. So number 6 would be Mr. Bell. Number 7 then would be Jillian Reese request. So if there are no other further additions or comments about the agenda, I'll take a motion to approve it as amended.
Motion to approve, sir.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, third.
Thank you, sir. Gwen, will you please call the roll about for approving the agenda as amended?
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Daniel McIntyre,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes.
All ayes. Thank you, committee. The agenda as amended is approved. Is there any public comment? I don't see any public on the line by and large, but if there is, let it be known that you'd like to comment. Seeing or hearing none, we'll close public comment. I know Director Hurt is on, so Caroline, thank you very much for taking a few minutes to join us this evening, and I'll just turn it over to you to give any updates that you would like regarding vaccine distribution or any other items concerning the pandemic or anything else that you'd like to speak to.
Sure. Well, hey, it's good to be with everybody, and I hope everybody's having a good evening. Just quickly wanted to touch base on where we are with vaccine distribution. Carter County is working on still working through some holdover 1A1s, which are our first responders, our home health providers, home care providers that we're trying to still scoop up, through several iterations of vaccine distribution events. We're still reaching out to our 1A2s. We've got some other healthcare workers that have the direct patient contact in various disciplines. We've got a funeral and mortuary workers who have direct decedent contact that are in there that we're still grabbing up and scooping up some people here and there that we still are bringing in. We've also started splitting, about 50-50 bringing in at the same time, I mean, splitting our time right at the same time between those who are 75 years of age and greater, and those who are in our phase 1B, which is our K through 12 and childcare teachers and staff, and then other first responders that would be, you know, like the forestry service and that sort of thing, that would be those kind of responders. So that's sort of where we are on phases in Carter County. We are working, the challenge that we have is we're working with really quick turnaround supply chain notices, shipment notices, vaccine shipment notices, guidance, and even including the method and how we're going to register people. So it's pretty quick turnaround, and that has made us have to be very ready to respond, very agile, and sometimes the movement has to be pretty quick for some very low volume shipments received. So some things just that we have to kind of keep in mind as we approach that is, and this may be helpful, is, you know, when the Operation Warp Speed was developed, the way that Tennessee receives those notices of allocation from Warp Speed is on a Sunday night. They get those allocations at the state level. The state level then turns around and allocates to the counties based on a variety of things that we've talked about before: population, severity index, risk index, and that sort of thing. So by the time we know the next day what kind of allocations may be coming, we don't know if it's going to arrive. We don't know if the shipment is actually going to arrive that day, next day. We literally wait to see, you know, how that shipment is going to arrive and when. And it's only then that we know how much it is. So that's some factors that move around. Some other factors that move around is upon receipt, we have to have a 2-hour thaw time for our vials that we receive. So that makes another factor that we have to plan for. Another factor is when you puncture a vial, there's anywhere from 10 doses to a little bit more. Lots of times we can get the 11th dose out of there, which we do. That's not unusual, but it is unique that when we puncture a vial, we have to actually use all of those doses that we draw up. It won't keep until the next day, or it won't keep until a next pod or a next vaccine event. So that's another factor that we have to deal with. We also have to deal with the fact that when we bring people in for vaccines, some of whom we bring in aren't going to be able to get the vaccine that day. Once they get there and get assessed by the nurses and the nurse practitioners, they may have had another vaccine within 14 days or plan to get another vaccine that they have to get 14 days from that day. They may have certain things going on and they may not be able to get it. So lots of moving parts. And it does have to be very fluid. So what we're doing is, and this is really new information from today, we have been moving to pretty much strictly a registration process. In other words, when we do get all of those factors put together and we've got vaccine in hand, if we get it in time, we are able to do invites out to have a pod set up. If it is a small quantity of vaccine, we don't pick up and go to the workforce development pod site. We would stay and do and still do notifications by invite. If we don't get vaccine in time, we still are trying to extend some invites and go ahead and pull in some of our, vulnerable folks from those phases that we're working through at the time. So we are doing that, and that helps us be really, really very fluid and very responsive. So we are changing the thing that was sort of new today. We're going to a statewide system that allows people to sign up. It's called Sign Up Genius, and it's going to be instituted as opposed to the Eventbrite system that we're using right now. That's going to be a lot easier for seniors and other folks to be able to make an appointment either for themselves using an appointment slot that we have made available based on what we've gotten when we've got it. We also can get that link out to anyone who can go in there and make appointments that have been made available for their particular phase. That's depending on what phase we're in. And of course, that depends on when we get vaccine and how much we get. So that's the general setup. But right now we've got our system set where we can invite people, so they actually know when they're coming for their dose of vaccine. And we're continuing to take registrations from people unless they're able to register themselves when we switch over to our new, a little bit more user-friendly system.
Caroline, I know that I have, and I think Commissioner Johnson has had several folks call about how they get registered. And I know many of them probably have inundated your all's phone lines at the Department of Health. Any suggestions on how particularly the elderly and those with comorbid conditions that could be more susceptible to contagion, any way that we can get them in line, or how is the health department handling that? I know you all, as I said, your phone lines are probably inundated every day, but I know I've had several elderly individuals contact me, and I've just said, well, just keep trying the telephone at the health department, and eventually you'll get through.
That's a great question. And really right now, there's not any other better way to do it other than to call us so that we can help develop those lists in the order that folks have been received. That helps us know how to distribute out then our available appointment spots. I think that as we move all of those many hundreds of people that we have on a list right now, our list is very long, and it certainly is growing every day, every hour, but we just don't have the vaccine yet to be able, in other words, we're just building lists. So, and that's fine. And we're doing that and keeping very close track on the order in which those calls were received. I think that when we can import all of those names and phone numbers over into our Sign Up Genius, and once that Sign Up Genius starts to be utilized more, I understand that what we'll get with that is a lot of state-generated media and promotion for our seniors to make it a lot easier to understand how to get themselves signed up for a vaccine, whether it is by phone or whether it is getting the help of a friend or a family member that can get on to Sign Up Genius and actually sign them into the system. Or of course, we can help them. So that should help take some of that volume pressure off of the health department. Not that it's pressure to us, but just the tax on the system to where it makes it hard for people to get in to the system.
Okay. The rest of the committee doesn't know, but Commissioner Johnson and I talked Sunday afternoon, and he had some great suggestions that I forwarded to Caroline regarding if commissioners or others can come and help answer phones, or if we can have a roving clinic for vaccine administration. And so those are under consideration. Caroline forwarded those to Dr. David Kursky, our regional medical director. But Caroline, know that we're supporting you all, and all you have to do is ask. And I know that many of our commission folks will be glad to step up and do whatever is needed to assist you all.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We all really appreciate that so very much. And, again, our chief challenge right now is we're just not getting in the amounts of vaccine that we're getting in a particular shipment is just so small that we're able to work through it many times, like I said, from the health department. So we want to do that in the most efficient way possible, certainly. It may be that when we move to this new system of registration, that we may have more opportunities to allow more sets of hands and sets of ears to help us, do some of that outreach and feed us names and numbers that we can then import into this system a little quicker. That may very well become a reality with this new Sign Up Genius. So I really appreciate that, and we all do, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Carolyn. Appreciate you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I can address this, Ms. Carolyn, before you leave. First of all, I got to give praise to you. There's a lot of the public just doesn't realize the smallness or the size of your staff and the endeavor of what you're having to cope with. Some may want to make comments about, can't receive, then nobody answers my phone, or they're giving immunization up there and we can't access. And I find it's nothing that you or your staff is directly involved with, I'd say, but communication amongst our citizens is the biggest thing. Yes, it comes down from the federal to the state, and the state and the pyramid comes down to the level of our county health department. And then the pyramid at the base of it is my county health department with 56,000 people in the county. Now, if they don't think what an endeavor you're having to plan for and to overcome, it's not that you get the immunization one time. Remember, we got to go through this 2 times, and we've got a single point. There has been no book written on how you do these things. So that means anybody that comes up with ideas, good, bad, indifferent, please bring them forward, because they may be vital in how we can get through this quick, because what we're dealing with is an emergency basis, nationally, state, and locally. We're dealing with lives, and we can't stand to be standing still. So if you take other actions that hadn't been published and all, the best power to you, and we support you 100%. And please, Ms. Carolyn, if you get in mind, if you run into a part of your organization or the execution of your job to get our citizens immunized, scheduled, or whatever it is, and you need extra manpower, we have a resource. And please call on this committee, and I'm sure the chairman will also reiterate this, that we can look into. We may personally give you the hand that you need, but the support you have.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carolyn. I know you're extremely busy and on call 24/7. So thanks again for joining us tonight. We appreciate the information and the update. And again, as Commissioner Johnson said, anything that we can do to assist, please let us know.
Sure, you bet. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next up on the agenda, thank you, Mr. McIntyre and Mr. Covert, for bearing with us. This is going to be a short presentation on the Appalachian Opportunity Fund, and I'll let Mr. McIntyre describe what they do and how it might assist particularly our employees in Carter County. And the mayor asked that we reach out to them, and Mr. McIntyre did do just that. And we appreciate you being on the agenda tonight. And I know that you all have a presentation, and I'm sure Abby will share her screen with you.
Thank you very much. Well, one of the one of the issues that we all face is financial stress, and that can come in many different ways. And Mr. Covert and I were able to speak with the mayor about a month ago and kind of shared our passion with really financial coaching. Is personalized financial coaching is what we do, but really we have a greater passion to be able to serve our community and our region and empower our region to be able to take the financial stress that they're facing and really turn that into financial resilience and freedom. And so one of the ways, this financial stress comes in many different ways. And this can be just from obviously what we're facing right now, which was totally unexpected. This can come from a lack of education. This could come from a lack of opportunity in our area. But financial stress is really the number one cause of stress across all people. Basically, this was from PricewaterhouseCoopers, their just most recent jobs report, basically. And this financial stress touches everything. And so I came from a housing background, and finances touches your housing, it touches education, it touches your healthcare, all these pieces. And so it all ties in together. So if you're stressed in your finances, really that just affects so many things. So here are some of those pieces. And if we think about this on a personal level, these are the different ways that financial stress really comes out. And as we look at this in a work environment, these are the ways that are looking at it as a county employee. If you're stressed out at home and facing all these different issues with not sure how you're going to pay rent, how are you feeding your kids, how are you paying your, just keeping your lights on, as you're thinking about bringing all that stress into your workplace, you're going to have these lower job performance, less commitment, lower productivity, a lot more absenteeism. And that's something where we as an organization feel like we can come in and work beside an organization like the county to be able to again strengthen the resiliency of your employees. And we do that through a few different ways. One, we basically have a very basic financial wellness survey. It's just an online survey that kind of gives a baseline of where your employees are at, asks how stressed they are, how do they feel about, could they face financial kind of hiccups and bumps in the road, basically. And so that kind of gives us a baseline. And then really our main passion and our kind of differentiator is that we are person-centered coaching. So we are hyper individualized in our coaching. And so it's not, we don't just rely basically on, we don't rely just on financial literacy. And kind of the thing we talk about is we share this as if it was you're trying to lose weight, and I can tell you how to do push-ups, and I can tell you how to, the benefits of doing push-ups. But if I'm not there right beside you, making sure you're the accountability, making sure you're doing the push-ups and doing them correctly, and challenging you, that you're really not going to become stronger. And it's the same thing with your finances as well. And so with our coaching staff working right alongside your employees and ended up being our clients, the benefits are just exponential. We're an independent organization, so we're a local 501c3 based out of Johnson City, but serves throughout the Tri-Cities. And so we are able to tie and connect our clients in with the exact financial institution that they are most needed. And so sometimes that's a home loan, sometimes that's a personal loan, sometimes that is, a lot of times that's getting out of a high interest rate and out of predatory loans. And which all those pieces help reduce the stress. We have a trusted partner network. Again, we're not just on the financial side. We really reach out to the whole person and come at it as a holistic coach. And so a lot of our clients struggle with their transportation even, and who to trust with a mechanic, or if they are having home improvement issues, a leaky roof, we're able to tie in with our trusted contractors who we know that they're not going to take advantage of families who are already in a very a really dire situation. And then we also have a financial freedom fund, which basically allows us to kind of loan out our money. Basically, we have our money as a collateral to help somebody in a high interest loan, and that can be a 20-25% high interest loan at a payday, kind of buy here, pay here car lot, and we can go from a 25% rate to down to a 4% rate. And that's an incredible cash savings, which really reduces that cash flow, or increases your cash flow, and reduces the financial stress. So again, Chad Covert is with me, and he's going to share kind of how a success story with us, and then also how this really interacts on the business from you all as a county.
Yeah, thanks again for having us, to all of you. I think the work we do is really fun because we get to have a lot of interesting stories. We get to know some great people. So we got to engage with a local fast food operator who brought us in as a service for their employees. And one of the really interesting stories is around one of those times, one of their locations was starting to see some declining productivity. And really they started to hone that back up toward one of their managers in the space. Right about that time, our service came in and we were able to engage with a number of employees in that area. And in particular, one of those key stakeholders for that location got to know our coaches. And what's really interesting is what Abraham talked about, all of those impacts on people who are financially stressed and how the downstream implications of those start to trickle into the workplace. Perfectly true in this case, as it turns out. There was a whole slew of items outside of the workplace that were just piling on to this person. So our coaches got to work, established a baseline of where that person was, and started to basically think in a triage type of setup of where we needed to go to work first. And what we found was there were a number of debts that actually this person had basically inherited that were threatening the home. And so within this family, there was actually 4 generations in this family that lived together. And the state was actually moving to seize that property. And so the family was about to head toward homelessness. And this is a working person, right? This is an employed person, a manager. And this family was about to face an eviction. So our coaches got involved and started working on other debts to start improve the credit profile, negotiated with the state. We actually have a lawyer on our team. And this family now is in a situation where they can stay in that house. And I've actually built some wealth out of this situation by readjusting the equity in the property. The really cool part about that story is the change in how this person was perceived and performed at the workplace. And this was stuff that we started to observe and really got excited about. The store, the atmosphere of that particular location started to shift. And upper management for this organization started to see that this is the person that we hired years ago. This right here, this is what we remember. And so that was just a really neat experience for us. And it's really interesting just to think about how many people might be just like that, working hard, making ends meet, but man, the margin for error is so small for so many people. And that's where we want to come in and just make sure we can optimize everything for each person and then see what happens for your workforce and particular county employees to see if there's anything that changed. So what you see on the screen here from Abraham is what we have seen as like a client of AOF, what might occur with working with us. Those 4 indicators there are critical for long-term net worth and also family stability and financial wellness. Anything involving credit score and delinquent debt directly is related to mortgages and your ability to own a home, which is often an anchor for a family's future net worth. Predatory debt is very common in our area. It's a cycle of debt that people stay in when they're not tied to traditional financial institutions. High interest, as Abraham said, also often loaded with fees that may not be made readily apparent to the person doing it. And then obviously the debt to income ratio directly ties again to that future stability and ability to get credit in a conventional method. So when we work with folks, what we expect to see for you is like an employer is obviously the financial stress starts to go down. You know, if we're able to take some of these outstanding things and you're wondering about which bill to pay or how much, and it's too much to bear, we start to lower that financial stress a little bit. And what we saw with that employee I referenced before, and we've replicated several times now, productivity starts to go up. The likelihood of that employee looking for a small raise elsewhere to make a jump because they feel like that might be the answer for their stress situation, that turnover starts to drop, that employee's engaging back in this workplace. We also could see this is a great recruitment and retention tool on the same front to show that this type of employer really cares about the employees. And one of the biggest ones that may not be thought of is actually that absenteeism piece. A small disruption in this type of wage band that we worked with for our fast food operator and other hourly wage work can often be the result of employee not being able to show up to work. Something like a flat tire could be the difference between making it to work today, tomorrow, or the next day if you don't have the funds to be able to get there and get that tire fixed or find alternative transportation. So that's what we see. That's what we get really excited about when we're working with employers and employees. So I just wanted to take that opportunity and share that story with you. Thanks. And I'll hand it back to Abraham, and I'll stick around for questions later too.
Chad, thank you very much. Kind of the process that we go through to be able to come in and share with an organization like the county is come in and obviously share a presentation like this, come in and speak with you. This is if you bring us on, have that initial conversation with the clients, with your employees, do that in any which way to build those relationships. We can do that virtually, obviously socially distanced, if in person. And then with our coaches, they come in and establish the goals that the employees and the clients, what they need and what is best for them. And then our coaches help create those action items and hold them accountable to help achieve those goals. And as we all know, we have a plan, and you make that plan and everything looks good. And then next thing you know, that plan changes. And so, as I mentioned, we're hyper individualized. And so these plans, each plan looks different for each of our clients, and our coaches are working with them to do that. So building a relationship with the county, some of those things we need to kind of figure out: number of employees, kind of different locations. And then we, look at that and we gather and basically put in a proposal for the fee for service. This is basically the county providing a free service to your employees as a benefit, as a part of their package. And then they're able to utilize our services to be able to take care of their, really to, again, decrease their stress. Making those connections between our staff and your staff. We, kind of kick that off through a connection through ETSU and through presentation that a master's program class did kind of on a study basically on AOF. And then we were able to grow that to meet the mayor, and then to be able to present here to you all tonight. And then we look at basically a 1-year contract with that option to extend for as long as it's needed, and as long as you all would like to do that. Here's just a sample of what we provide on a monthly basis, basically an impact report. So we show, you can see on the left, the coaching sessions. We measure actual impact. These are not just kind of fun coaching sessions, but we're looking at raised incomes, raised credit scores, again, paid off delinquent debt, negotiated debt, and then just those are numbers and good, but here's some stories on the right side. And then also looking at the Financial Freedom Fund, how those loans are being distributed and how they're being paid off. Here's some of our local companies and nonprofits that we're working with that have hired us for our services. These are all doing extremely well and making great progress within their businesses, and have shared that they'll be a reference for us as well, to share their successes. This is the big piece, and this is kind of what I'll go out on. Then we'll answer some questions for you all. But what we see, this is a bigger, we obviously say we're a coaching, financial coaching service, but we feel that our impact is much greater than just that. And so we're looking at, if we come in to be able to serve with you and serve your employees, that these are the things. I mean, the financial stress is, again, connected to so many things, and we know in our area that poverty is a huge issue. The United Way put it out their ALICE report, which is the ALICE, which is asset limited, income constrained, and employed. It's basically a very nice way to say working poor. These are families who are potentially working 1, 2, 3 jobs, but don't have $400 in savings. And again, as Chad said, if they hit a nail in the road that somebody threw out or something, and they get a flat tire, they're not making it to work for a couple of days because they don't have the couple $100 to get a new tire. So working with the ALICE population, removing that financial stress and allowing them to take advantage of the jobs that they do have, and to increase their cash flow, reduce their debt, reduce the percentage, the interest rates that they're working with, and that also, it gives them a way to really break that generational poverty. As many of us know or have experienced or have heard, just the black hole of debt, and especially the predatory debt, is just so strangling. It really is just a massive problem in our area, and we see that driving through the streets of Johnson City and Elizabethton and Kingsport, with the advanced financials and the payday loans. All these things are just, it comes down to, it's expensive to be poor. And that's a weird piece to put, a weird way to put it, but it's true. And the percentage rates that it costs, and access to capital, all these things are a struggle for people. With that, we all, and I know as a county, you all, I mean, you're an employer, but also you care about your county as a whole. And so increasing cash flow, increasing access to capital, it's going to raise the area median income. This is putting money right back into the pockets of your employees, but also into the business owners. Money is the number one cause of divorce. So do we have numbers that talk about divorce rates? We don't, but we believe that, again, decreasing that financial stress will lead to these pieces. And I think the other really important and key thing to see in this opportunity, with your interest and support in Appalachian Opportunity Fund, is other businesses will see you as a beacon as well. And so to see that the county is taking care of its employees in this way, to present this opportunity to their employees, and then other businesses, hopefully would take that on to be able to want to offer our services to their employees as well, which again, rising tide brings up the whole community. So we see this as an amazing opportunity for the county, again, as an employer, but also just as a county as the whole, and a lot of great benefits that can come from that. Obviously, here's just some quick information. We've sent out the flyer, so you got our contact information to be able to reach out to us. And we'll definitely ask questions, but we would love to have, with your interest and support, we would love to be able to talk deeper, and also then present to the full commission at a time that you feel is appropriate for us to do that, to be able to present this benefit to the county. So we greatly appreciate this opportunity and would open it up to questions.
Any questions for Mr. McIntyre or Mr. Colbert? We appreciate both of you being here tonight in the presentation.
I don't really have any questions, Mr. Chair, but I will say that I think that this is something that has been discussed kind of internally on several different occasions, is something that we could give, something we could offer or get our individuals, our employees in contact with, somebody that could potentially help them on the financial planning side. And, that was something that we had touched on, talking about insurance and benefits and things that we have and in the past. And, you know, I can tell you from several of our different employee groups, the amount of monies that they make and things that, you know, he's absolutely right in saying that you are, most of the time, those employees are just a paycheck away from, you know, being homeless or being broke, you know, and that's a very big concern for individuals that are starting families that are employed here. And I think that's one of the big reasons that we actually see some of our employees that we train, you know, at the sheriff's office, detention center, or later on in some of our other offices, actually see them leave. They're concerned about that. You know, they want to go somewhere else for a little bit more money, and then, you know, maybe go somewhere else for a little bit more money because, you know, they're trying to do this planning. They don't perceive that they make enough money to keep their family where they feel that they need to be. However, some of that is also on them in some cases to maintain those funds a little bit better, or to even, you know, I was lucky in high school. We had one class that we called it contemporary issues. And we were taught how to do taxes. We were taught how to balance a checkbook and, you know, deal with savings accounts and apply for loans. And there was 20 people in that class. And that was the only year that they ever taught the class. And yeah, we had half a semester of economics and things, but that's not necessarily the things you do. And, you know, I know that without having that class, without knowing some of these, how to do some of these things, you know, you can be at a loss. And I think that this is something that we definitely need to look into for our employees. I just think it'd be a humongous benefit.
Chairman Acuff.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say thank you to Chad and Abraham. I was super excited when I was introduced to these guys and we met and discussed their program. And I thought, just from being a county employee myself, I have witnessed hardships that have been with the county employees on such low salaries. I have seen county employees go into divorces and come in and not have access to anything that they can, and their whole personality and demeanor changes when dealing with the public. I think financial independence is super, super important for this county. Our county is overridden with the loan companies, the high interest companies. Basically, most of our employees are robbing Peter to pay Paul. The garnishments that our finance department receives on our county employees is unbelievable. They are in a no-win situation, a lot of them are. And like Commissioner Grindstaff said, they're one paycheck away from losing stuff. So for these guys to offer this opportunity and what they're doing, I think is a tremendous asset. And I really hope that this committee would look at bringing them on for our employees, and not just our employees, like Abraham said, being a beacon for the community, and maybe helping some of our employees get out from under these high risk loans that I know a lot of our employees use. Many of these payday places, a lot of them do. They go there, basically pay those high rate interest and turn around and take that money back out. And that worry alone is enough to really show in the job atmosphere. So I just want to commend them on what they're doing and the program that they're trying to do. So I was really excited to have this on the agenda, and I appreciate you for doing that. And thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks. Any other questions?
Guys, can you be hired by individuals or only by businesses and governments?
No, we basically have three three buckets of our clients. One is basically the pay for service. As I mentioned, the different organizations that we worked with, the UPM Pharmaceuticals, Bojangles. So they pay for us. And so that is a kind of the for service or for hire piece. We also raise money. And so we had we won a 2-year grant from the East Tennessee Foundation and the Washington County Community Foundation, where that allowed us to provide our services for the 6 local nonprofits in Johnson City. And so that's kind of the middle bucket. And then our third bucket is basically where we have individuals, churches, families, small groups that will scholarship a person as well. So in that, as you never heard me say that we charge the person for our services. So we feel that we don't want to put that extra burden on the person to be able to have to pay for those services. So we subsidize that either by the employer, by a granting foundation, or by an individual group that covers that cost. So yeah, we have people that basically scholarship that as well. So we're interested in doing that as well.
What is the proper format for you all to disclose what it would cost our county if we decided to do this? Can you give us an approximate figure per person?
Yeah, what we like to do is get, and I believe, Mayor, you said in the 275 employee range. So what we do, really, I wanted to have this conversation, look at this as, look at the number of employees, and what we do is look at the number of employees, number of locations, and then kind of the mix of what your kind of the salary range as well. So there's some few more details that we look into, but roughly, and normally we will just give you, and then we'll come back with an actual just price per month. We are in the range, I believe I told the mayor earlier, in the range of $20 per person, per employee per month.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Abraham, would you all be able to, assuming we get a motion from the committee, maybe come to full commission this month and make the same presentation? I think it would, as Commissioner Holdren indicated, I think it would be very instructive if we kind of had a ballpark figure. It'll obviously have to go back to budget, but before it gets there, I would like for the full commission to appreciate what you all are bringing to the table. And what I see as well, I think the mayor did, as Commissioner Grindstaff pointed out, what it would be another benefit for our employees. And yes, I've had employees approach me about overwhelming debt and other things that cause stress in their lives because they do not make enough money. And we do know that there's a high percentage of Alice population in Carter County, probably higher than there is in Washington or Sullivan, for instance. So I think it would be useful for us to consider. But if someone would make the motion, would you all be able to come the third Monday of this month to do a presentation for the full commission?
It's actually on Tuesday because it's Martin Luther King Day.
Oh yeah, thank you, Mayor. You're right. I'm sorry. So Tuesday, the day following Martin Luther King.
The 19th.
19th or 26th?
It's the 19th.
19th. Oh, right. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yes, sir. We'd love to.
So I think it would be appropriate for a motion to have them present to the full commission on the 19th. Somebody would like to make that and second it.
I'll move to bring them in for the full commission.
Okay. Commissioner Mike Hill makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it. Randall Jenkins, 6.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
So Chairman, for clarification, $20 a head per month was what you stated that it would roughly cost?
Yes, sir.
So about $60K a year in our case, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yes, sir.
We need to probably put that in the minutes and on the, the proposal.
What is the minimum number of months for which you can be hired?
From as a full organization like the county, or on a per person basis?
As the county.
As a county. We prefer a year is what we would like to do. We can also be flexible in that if we would rather prove ourselves to you on a smaller amount of months if needed. But we prefer the year, but if we need to adjust that, we're flexible.
You can't expect to get anyone's financial house in order in 4 or 6 months. I mean, and that's going to take at least a year commitment for some people, depending on the amount of peril they find themselves in.
Yeah, and I definitely appreciate you saying that.
Abraham, would you all do it on an ad hoc basis? Let's say if we went department by department and one employee confides in their supervisor that they're having some difficulty and we could enroll them in your all's program. I don't know that it would be that everyone would take advantage of it. It's like our health insurance plans in the county. We have 3. And folks get to choose the options. I see this as maybe an ad hoc program for folks to take advantage of. I think it would be unfortunate if they didn't, hearing some of the stories that have been relayed to me that I have had employees confide in me regarding their financial status. And I hope everybody would take advantage of it. But you might get that question at commission. Would you all consider an ad hoc basis based on department by department?
Okay, we can look into that as well.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none. The motion is to have the Appalachian Opportunity Fund Group come and present on the 19th to the full county commission, and also bring to us some figures as pointed out by Commissioner Hill, who made that motion. So Gwen, if you'll call the roll, please.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Daniel McInturf,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes.
Thank you, Gwen. All ayes, so that's unanimous. Guys, thank you. We appreciate you taking time to be with us tonight. Nice presentation, and we look forward to seeing you on the 19th. I'll communicate with the commission chair, Travis Hill, and ask him to place you on the agenda. I saw him on here earlier. I don't know if he's still on or not, but I'll make sure that you all are part of the agenda for the night.
Great. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Bring us on.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, and I apologize again to Mr. Bell for not having you up as a regular. So again, I do apologize for that. So I know that Abby can share her screen with you, and please, you can make your presentation.
Dr. Acuff, it's no problem, sir. I appreciate you letting me jump in here, and I'll try to be brief. First of all, I'll just let you know who Aramid Care Network is, why we reached out to the county, and then open it up to questions after that. My name is Ray Bell. I work with Aramid Care Network, and you know us locally as Wings Air Rescue. Your county within 70 nautical miles have 7 of our aircraft, 4 of those being the Wings Air Rescue aircraft. Regionally, as you go farther south, you start running into UT Life Force, which is also our aircraft. As you go further south towards the Chattanooga area, you run into Erlanger Life Force, which is our aircraft. As you go west into Tennessee and Kentucky, you start seeing Aerovac, which is us, and nationally, we've got over 400 aircraft in 320 bases. While we approached Mayor Woodby was a couple months ago, one of your employees had actually approached our crew out at Elizabethton Airport and was asking some questions about the Ballot Healthcare Systems agreement that we have with them and some of the other counties, such as Johnson County, Unicoi, Johnson City Government Schools, Kingsport, Hawkins, Hancock County, practically everyone around you. You know, we've done agreements with for our membership program. Along with being the world's largest emergent air provider, we have the world's largest membership program, which helps us, you know, stay in the air and keep flying. So what we did is we reached out to the mayor, had a brief meeting with her and your insurance broker and a couple of the commissioners. Kelly Greer with Sequoia Group, your insurance broker. She was familiar with us and what we do. We'd actually worked with her a few months ago in Granger County, setting them up with UT LifeStars membership plans. But what we do is we have a membership plan that protects your employees should they be flown, and not only your employees, but everyone that lives in their household. And we do that because, you know, nowadays the typical household isn't typical as it was 20, 30 years ago. Probably around 30% of your employee force may have a household that includes aging parents that they're taking care of, possibly grandchildren in the household, kids off at college, kids back from college, someone, you know, that's not on their insurance plan. And that's what this membership covers. It covers everyone should they have an emergent flight and be flown. Not only the ones that's on your insurance, but also every member that lives under their roof is covered with this. And this gentleman that approached our crew at the airport, he was concerned with some of the things that's happening with the healthcare system, really realignment of services, some issues that are going on with COVID. We fly a lot in this area. And, you know, you folks over there, we probably keep you awake at night flying over you with our twin engine that flies out of the airport there. But what we did is we evaluated your insurance plan that the county has. We spoke with the broker and we looked at that, and we came up with an agreement to share with you folks that would cover your employees, where they would have absolutely no out-of-pocket costs associated with any flight that them or any of their household would have if we were flying them. As you can imagine, what we do is expensive. The aircraft we fly are multi-million platforms, and insurance doesn't come close to paying for these flights. Last year, we flew 125,000 patients nationwide. 52% of them, the insurance either did not want to pay and denied the flight, or did not want to pay the price of the flight. So what that does is that throws those costs back on those patients. And what this does is this prevents them from having any out-of-pocket costs. We work with your insurance company. A lot of people think that when we fly somebody, we just toss them out at a trauma center and wish them the best of luck, but we actually track their progress the entire time they're in the hospital, because we want to know their survivability rate of what we do. The golden hour is real. It started out in the military, and we carry that on. And basically that helps us explain to people why there's 6 aircraft within 60 miles of Carter County. The places that we're at are because of roads and because there's no roads, essentially. In Tennessee is no different. About every other hospital in most of the counties have shut down over the last 10 years. So it's put a strain on the local EMS, the emergency, the first responders, state troopers, sheriff deputies and stuff, and they rely on us a lot to get folks to the appropriate level of care. But when we transport somebody, we follow up with them, we track their progress. If they're a member, they get a phone call. If they're not a member, they still get a phone call from us. We want to find out when they get home how we do, how they're doing. If they're a member, we basically ask them for their consent to deal with their insurance, have them sign a form that says, hey, gives us the authorization to contact our insurance and work that out. And then we start that fight for the next year to, sometimes 2.5 3 years trying to get reimbursed for the flight. And they step away and they're done with it. They don't have to worry about that. If they're not a member, they still get a phone call from us. We still ask them those same 2 questions. How are you doing? How do we do? But third question is a little bit different if they're not a member. We don't get involved in that insurance battle. But what we do is we work with your insurance companies and all your benefits providers. If it was a car wreck and somebody else was responsible, we will work with them. And we try to obtain the maximum reimbursement for that flight. After all that's complete, if you're a member, you have no out-of-pocket with us at all. Even if your insurance says, you know, Doc, it was just a heart attack, you could rub dirt on it, walked it off, you'd have been fine, you didn't need to be flown, they completely deny the flight, you're a member, you have no costs that's going to be coming out of your pocket for us. That's essentially it. We spoke with the mayor, like I said, for 277 employees, plus all of their household members, it would be $60 a person, and that's per year. Normally it's $85 a person for a membership to cover an entire household. So what we do is we reduce that based on your guys' employee numbers and your insurance that we vetted. So for $16,620, you cover your entire staff.
What's that total again? 16 what?
$16,620. That's $60 per person, plus or minus you folks.
And Mr. Bell, you are aware that most of our employees have employee-only coverage, but you said that this will cover any member of their family?
Of their household, anyone that lives under their roof, ma'am.
Yes.
Just to make it easy.
Yes, okay.
Because we know, like I said, you know, it's not the same as when I graduated high school and went off into the world. Things are a lot different now. You've got, you know, folks that's taking care of aging parents. You've got grandchildren in the household. You've got kids off at college. This also covers them if they're, you know, cross country. They're still part of your household, even though they're, you know, down at UT or, you know, God forbid they went to Alabama. They're still part of the household.
That was $60 a year, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure you heard that.
Other discussion or questions? I would ask Chairwoman Holdren if financial management, I know we've got 3 of you, and if Travis is still on, 4 of you that are on financial management would want to weigh into this as well, because obviously this would be a benefit and would be part of our benefits package, just like the prior group. If Commission wanted to add the Appalachian opportunity to manage debt, reduce debt, AOF, that I would see as would come to financial management as well before going to budget. That's only my thought.
I definitely think, Dr. Acuff, that I would like to hear and have more discussion about both of these, which seem like really, really good things that I would like to provide to our employees, but need to make some hard decisions. You know, I think there definitely needs to be more discussion about what we can afford, what's appropriate at this time, and then we're going to have to prioritize. So if for no other reason, I think another discussion taking place would be a great thing. So financial management may be the place to start.
Okay.
Dr. Acuff.
Yes.
I know I heard this about a month ago, and I know the city listened in on it. I myself would be interested in it, even if the city itself didn't offer it. If it was just on a voluntary basis, I would definitely be interested for myself. So it may be something that we offer as a supplemental benefit.
That's a good thought, Chairman.
If we offered it as a supplemental benefit, it'd be minimal out of each paycheck. If it's $60 a year, that's a minimal amount out of a biweekly paycheck, and I would definitely be interested in it.
We would have to take that out of 2 paychecks, Mayor.
Okay,
We'd split that.
still a minimal amount for $60 a year. It's definitely worth it.
And if somebody doesn't want to provide it,
Right.
we'd be more than happy to come in and.
Yeah. The other question that I think should be answered, we did pass a resolution that allows county commissioners to participate in the insurance if they pick up the premiums. This would be another opportunity for that consideration as well. And we would just have to make sure that financial management certainly agreed with that, because we brought that resolution through you all as well, even though I think it originated in health and welfare.
I don't know how many retirees you have either, Doctor, but you could also offer to them as well.
Excuse me, Mr. Bell, if we did offer it on an employee basis where they could choose to take it or not, would the price change if enrollment went down to say 100 people?
No, ma'am. We would still leave that at 60 and come in. We do this all the time. Some counties just flat out purchase it for every employee as like a recruitment tool. As you understand, times are tough. And then other counties, they're like, hey, we just want this a voluntary benefit, and let them do it.
Okay.
But we'll leave it at the same. We just base the discount off the overall staffing and your insurance. I tried to reach out to the school system to get them and the city on board as well. But with holidays, it was tough to reach any of them. But definitely, I tell people it's like bear spray. You don't need it until you need it, and it can be a lifesaver. Since I had to fly my dad up in West Virginia a few weeks ago. This COVID thing, it's a mess. The nearest hospital that would accept him was 2.5 hours away. It's terrible. It's affecting people that you wouldn't think it would affect. People you think it's going to be fine, have trouble. We lost one of our pilots out of Chattanooga yesterday. It's definitely taking a toll on us. We're flying a lot more. Initially, our flights went down because back in March, nobody wanted to leave the house. Everyone was staying home, wasn't traveling. And, so initially our flights dropped a little bit, but now they've went through the roof because we're having to fly folks farther and farther a lot of times just to find a hospital bed.
Yeah.
So could I get just a little bit of clarification on something, since I do have a college age daughter? If, let's say she's in college in South Dakota, what if there's not a Wings Air Rescue in the town and where she is?
That could be possible. South Dakota, not a whole lot out there. Why'd you send her to South Dakota? That's terrible. You're a terrible mother. Why'd you do that?
No,
do you know how cold it is in South Dakota today?
That's just a random location. She hasn't applied to South Dakota.
Okay.
Right.
You need to take her out there to visit school during the winter time.
When we done our presentation with Ray a month ago, he did have a map that showed where all they were located. And it was pretty much the map was the country was covered. I mean, it was pretty blue. So it made me feel very confident.
Yeah, there's some places that we don't have aircraft. Some places, weather's not permitting. We fly fixed wings about anywhere though. And, so if Ginger, if you go to Alaska and you're fly fishing and you get in a tangle with the grizzly bear up there and lose, that's us up there as well. If you're going to Hawaii on vacation, that's us down there. South Dakota, there's not a whole lot out. We've got some aircraft, but they're far and few between.
Okay. And then just out of curiosity, are you the Bell in which our local helicopter manufacturer is associated?
I wish I was that Bell. I'm his. I was his redneck cousin from West Virginia that was just smart enough to get in the Air Force and run off with the circus. So.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Nick.
Ray, I was also going to say, Chairman Holder, if this is going to financial management, a member of our financial management committee is Dr. McAbee, the school superintendent. So he will be there on that presentation. That may be an opportunity for you to get the school system involved in one swoop. So he will be there.
Okay, that'd be great.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. We appreciate you being on tonight.
Thank you, Doc. Thanks for fitting me in.
Sure. If there's no further questions or discussion, I'll take a motion to send this to financial management.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Commissioner Holder makes a motion to send to financial management. Is there a second?
I'll second Randall Jenkins.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Jenkins is the second. No additional discussion. Gwen, call the roll, please.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Daniel McInturf,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes.
Thank you. All ayes. It's unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Bell. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Doc. You have a good evening.
Thank you. You too. Next item on our agenda is discussion of an item that I received this afternoon from Jillian Reese, Carter County Drug Prevention. In the past, these have come as a part of either a mayor's proclamation, and I think also we've done a resolution by the entire commission, but this is the proclamation or resolution for a National Mentoring Month, which is an annual campaign that focuses attention on their mentors that help addicts in the community, by usually former addicts, to get clean and to have someone to talk with and to rely on. I sent a copy of it to Attorney Harden today, and even if the mayor doesn't mind, I would like to see us do it as a proclamation, or as more appropriately as a resolution from the entire body, including the mayor, because I do think what they do and the role that they play in this county is very, very important. I did send out a copy of that. I talked with Josh, or texted him later this afternoon, and he got back with me. Apparently he's traveling today, but he said he would be happy to wordsmith it to make it a resolution for County Commission. So is there any feeling one way or the other on this?
You said we did a proclamation last year?
We've done both. We've done resolutions for her, and we've also done proclamations from the mayor's office. So we can do either. Obviously, Jillian sent it to me late this afternoon, and I reached out to Josh, and he got to me before the meeting started. It's fine if you all want to go forward with a proclamation. It doesn't need committee action, therefore, but I'm always supportive of what Jillian and company does in Carter County. They do a good job.
Dr. Acuff, educate me a little bit on what's the difference between a resolution and a proclamation. Why? Because didn't you kind of suggest in your initial speech that you might rather see a resolution? Can you tell me?
It's just it encompasses the entire county commission voting on that resolution as it goes forward, where the mayor doesn't need our support nor our vote for a proclamation. She can make that about any subject that she wants and make a proclamation and declare XYZ. So I was just looking for support from our entire commission on what Jillian and her group do for Carter County. I try to give them as much support as we can, but I'll defer to the committee on how you want to handle this, and also how the mayor would like to handle this.
I'll let the committee decide on what they would prefer. I'm good.
Well, I am totally in support of what Jillian does. She is a great partner with all community clubs like Keep Carter County Beautiful. So for that reason, I would like to make a motion that we ask our county attorney to write a resolution recognizing this as National Mentoring Month.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Bob. Mike, District 2.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments, discussion? Okay, this is to vote on instructing the county attorney to write a resolution as it involves the mentoring program for not only Carter County drug prevention, but regionally and nationally as well, but certainly in Carter County. So if there's no further discussion, Gwen, call the roll, please, ma'am.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Daniel McIntyre,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes.
Okay, it is unanimous. Thank you. And thank you, Mayor, for leaving that decision to us. Appreciate that. Next item, which is I think our last item, is a broadband internet update. I think each of you have been receiving the emails that go back and forth between either myself and Brad Shields, and you should have gotten one probably yesterday or over the weekend from Ken Ray regarding grant opportunities for broadband internet service. If you're not getting those and those communications from Ridgeline, let me know and I'll make sure that you get copies of those. I know that Commissioner McIntyre, you joined us later, so you may not have been in that loop when we first started this. Commissioner Prophet, you too, so let me know if you guys are or are not receiving those emails. I think each of you know that RidgeLink is looking at and have done some pre-engineering for District 6, and I really appreciate the District 6 commissioners reaching out to Ridgeline and asking for survey material and getting those to their constituents, because as Commissioner Mike Hill have pointed out a number of times, that those mean dollars when those surveys come to the table in terms of deferring the cost of infrastructure. So they are looking at where we might fit in terms of grant programs. Ken Ray indicated to Ridgeline as well in his email that he's starting to look as well. So hopefully we'll have something that somebody will bite on, and Ridgeline will do the submission for us. They'll have the pre-engineering aspects. They'll also have hopefully a high number of surveys, and we need to encourage folks to continue to do that, not only in District 6, but also following in District 2 and in District 1. And then we'll see what else can happen throughout the county. Any other comments on broadband or questions that you might have? Great. Hearing none, I don't think there's any old or new business to come before us unless anybody has an item that they want discussed or brought up. And hearing none.
Chairman Acuff,
Yes,
Brad
sir.
Johnson, third.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we adjourn with a 10-minute break.
Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Johnson to adjourn and take a 10-minute break. Is there a second?
Second.
I have nothing on my agenda, guys. So
And I was going to point out that I have no agenda either. There's been nothing brought forward from the sheriff.
Okay.
I may have a 10-minute dissertation. Do you mind if you take a break? You nod ahead.
Yes, sir. Well,
Ah.
if Gwen called the roll for adjournment of health and welfare and a 10-minute break.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Daniel McIntyre,
Yes.
Isaiah Grandstaff.
Yes.
Okay, it is unanimous. Gwen, thank you as always for the job you do. We appreciate you. And also, Abby, thank you for the technology aspect and making sure this works week after week, month after month. So health and welfare is adjourned. We'll take a 10-minute break. Hey, Thomas, are you getting the information for internet from Brad Shields and that group?
Is that the one with you and him?
Yeah. And then there was one today or sometime this over the weekend from Ken Ray.
Okay, I don't think that I got that one.
Okay, I'll make sure you all get it.
Because that's what I was looking at. I seen the ones from I think last week.
Okay.
But I didn't get the one today that from him.
Okay.
Hey, Doc, I didn't get the one from Ken Ray either.
Okay, I'll make sure that you get it. Daniel, are you getting them?
Yeah, Mr. Acuff, that's what I was going to say. I don't think that I have received any of those emails from what I was sitting here looking at. I did receive the flyer that was presented, but I think that was sent from either you or Abby one. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm not receiving those emails from those individuals.
Okay, all right. I'll make sure you're on their list and mine too.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dr. Acuff, I don't know what was the last thing sent, but I did a search for Ken Ray's name and nothing came up in my email list. So I'm not even sure if I'm getting them.
Okay, I'll go back and check and I'll redistribute Ken's email. It was just inquiring about what was out there in grants and what he should be looking for. So I'll make sure y'all get a copy of that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Is everybody back?
It appears so, sir.
I will call rules and bylaws to order. Roll call is the same as before. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Jenkins.
I second that.
Okay.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Gwen, could you call the roll? Or yeah.
Who made the second?
Thomas.
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Daniel McIntyre,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
All right, motion passes. I entertain a motion. I'm sorry. No, I'll entertain a motion to approve December minutes.
I so move. Johnson, 3rd District.
Second, Acuff.
Second, Acuff. Any discussion? Seeing none. Gwen, can you call the roll, please?
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Daniel McIntyre,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
All right, motion passes. I don't see any public still on the line, so I don't think there's any public comments. But before we adjourn, because I have no new business or old business, is there any commissioner comments?
I'm sorry, Randall, for not being completely prepared to say this, but there is a reapportionment class. I want to say tomorrow or the next day. When is it, Dr. Acuff?
I think it's Thursday.
Okay. So since this committee is dealing with that, it would be great if we could watch it.
Right. I know that Commissioner Grindstaff sent out a notice. I got one from the originator. Commissioner Holden probably got one too. Did anybody else? Hang on just a minute. I can tell you who that. Of course, it was in what Isaiah sent in the last little bit.
I've got it up, Dr. Acuff, if you'd like me to read it.
Okay. Why don't you, sir?
It's an email from, I had forwarded this on, but it's an email from Brett Howell, which is our Tennessee Commissioner Association group. They're putting this on in conjunction, Brett Howell with CTAS. It is a TCCA training on redistricting. It's going to take place at 7:30 a.m. on January the 7th. And then they are also having another class the same day at 1 p.m. on January the 7th. It's, of course, virtual. And in the meeting, it's a Zoom meeting. They present that link. They also present the telephone option to dial in. Says that it probably take maybe an hour or two. So if anybody has the availability, they said the afternoon session is just a repeat of the morning session. So they're just hoping that since redistricting is on the topic for, I think, several counties and is available to do due to the census, they're just hoping that anybody that's interested can attend. So,
now, Isaiah, was that Central Time or Eastern Standard?
Those times that I read off are Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, okay.
Is that in the same format or the same people that's done the other two meetings, Isaiah? The other two classes? I've attended two so far.
As I say, I'm not sure. I will say, Dr. Acuff, in reading that, the first email or the first topic at 7:30 a.m., it says that it's Eastern Time. It's 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard. However, they have Central Time listed down below that's 7:15. So that one's probably going to be at 8:15, 8:30. And then the one down below that's occurring in the afternoon was at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12:45 Central. So.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, absolutely. Isaiah, did you say you sent that to all of us?
Yes, I sent that last night, I believe.
Okay, I'll look through it. I've got all those emails. I heard my phone go off with the emails, so I see them right here. I got you. All right. Is there anything else?
Chairman Grindstaff, do they have another time? Like, could you watch it later? Because those two times I won't be available.
Yeah, I'm
Isaiah,
not.
Like maybe like on, I don't know if you could do it on YouTube or something like that.
If it's Isaiah, I'll say if it's the same people, they've offered a link to where you can go back and watch it afterwards.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see if it's the same people or not.
It's Charlie Curtis and Brett Howe from the TCCA. CTAS.
Yeah.
I know that they usually record those meetings.
Okay.
And if it's not this specific meeting, it's going to be similar to, they're going to have additional meetings, I'm sure, or have had prior meetings. We could probably get a recording or access to a recording if they have one as well. Yeah, I understand those times aren't that great. I definitely would have preferred one in the evening.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Is there anything else?
Chairman Jenkins, only one other item, or at least from my perspective, others may have another item. I listened to financial management Monday morning, and there was considerable distortion from one individual who is on the committee who tuned in to be a part of the proceedings. And of course, the committee couldn't hear the report that they were giving, nor hear any discussion that he brought to the table. I think we need to remind commissioners that they have the responsibility of making sure, one, they have a good connection. Number two, if the connection isn't good, they need to find a good one, because I think that does a disservice not only to the committee members and them participating in discussing items, but remember that these meetings are recorded, and it also does no good for the constituents to listen in on a meeting that isn't fully understandable. So I don't know if this committee needs to form some sort of recommendation or take a vote and remind commissioners that it is their responsibility, as long as we're doing Zoom, that they need to make sure that they have a connection that everyone can hear what they're saying, as well as our constituents. Because again, Abby records all of these. They're placed up on our webpage, and I think it's just a disservice not to be able to provide, entering into the discussion with the meeting in which you're a part of, but also for our constituents.
I agree with you, Dr. Acuff. I think it would maybe do well coming from the full commission chair, maybe as just a friendly reminder first before we go into any other actions. Maybe that's just my humble opinion on it. But
that's fine.
We can go. I'm fine either way. If we want to put something into a form of a motion tonight, I'm perfectly, we can do that. But it's up to you guys.
Well, I'm just thinking about the fact that when there is trouble, it is usually beyond their control. So it's something they would absolutely have to choose to plan ahead for. Because I understand that Nancy Brown was cut off last night during a meeting, maybe during education or landfill. So, and I know that there's been a time or two that I haven't been able to hear Mike Hill. And I know that these people really can't help it because, I mean, that's the reason we're looking at broadband service. Where they live, it's not provided well. So, I want all of us to do our part, but then we've also got to be understanding that some of this is beyond control, or unpredictable. I also, along those lines, I like to see your all's faces, and several of you choose not to start the video, and I understand that. Sometimes I'm tempted not to do the video myself, but that's another thing, Chairman Jenkins, that I have considered bringing up is I wonder if we should ask commissioners to do the video since it is recorded and it's a matter of public record. I personally feel like our video should be on.
Just from a tech aspect on that, I know if you have weak internet signal, that sometimes you can have the audio for the meeting, but if you have your video on, it lowers your audio quality and gives you some of those issues. So I know that's one of the reasons I think Nancy doesn't turn her camera on, is because when she tries to, it increases her sound problems. So that might be something that people have to consider when they're in the meeting as well.
Thank you, Abby.
It's that's one of the main reasons I don't turn mine on a lot. I mean, I have a solution for this. We could just start meeting back in person, which helps out. I would be okay with that. So, but that's
yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I think maybe if Travis from the chair position could maybe address the commission as a whole on some of these matters, and I don't know if Travis is still on. I can.
Yeah, he's still on.
I think it would come maybe better from the chair, just as a friendly reminder to everybody, and if they can, log in with video, or if they can make sure that they're going to have good connection, and maybe it's something that we offer that they can be at the courthouse. I know some of them come to the courthouse anyways for the full commission, so I don't have a right answer for it, so.
And I'm willing to set up the equipment in there anytime somebody needs to come down to the courthouse. If they're worried about their internet connection or know they're having problems, I have no problem getting that set up for them here.
And also one of the other things I've been copying Commissioner Holdren because she always puts up that she's at the 5th district. And as you see, I started out just with my name and I've added I'm in the 1st district. It might be, even if you don't run the video, your name pops up. It might be good in terms of constituent service to go ahead and rename and put which district you're in.
That's a good idea.
Suggestion.
Now I've tried to add my background that Mike sent me in. That's just, you have to go to some type of tech school or something to have figure that out. I mean, that's just, whew.
It's under preferences, Randall.
I just feel like I feel like I'm having an old man tech moment or something. I don't know.
Well, when you're my former student, you're not allowed to get old.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Well, if you think about it, that's why they make grandchildren where you can ask them.
Exactly. Okay, well, all good stuff. Dr. Acuff, would you be okay with me reaching out to Travis or maybe?
Yeah, he's still on. I see his face.
Travis, would you?
Randall, I'll take care of that at the next meeting.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll take care of that next meeting. I'll make a statement to everybody. I know, like I'm on my Chromebook tonight, and a lot of times when there's a lot of people on and the videos are on, I have terrible sound quality.
Yeah.
If I do it from my laptop, it's a whole lot better. So I understand people's problems and frustrations, but I will address that 2 Tuesdays from now.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Is there anything else from a rules and bylaws standpoint? I really do appreciate Isaiah sending that email out. I just now seen it, and that is a part of the same classrooms that they've been doing. I heard it was a 3-part series, so I'm pretty sure this is the last one, if it's for sure the same one. So it's been very educational so far. So, but I will hear a motion for adjournment if there's nothing else.
Chairman Jenkins.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Is that something that we could go back and watch? Are those available on, like was already previously asked? Do you know where we could go look those up? Is it the same people?
I'll send you a link through your email here in just a few minutes.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anything else?
Motion to adjourn, sir.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Lynn, can you call the roll on that?
Randall Jenkins,
Yes.
Mike Hill,
Yes.
Robert Acuff,
Yes.
Brad Johnson,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet,
Yes.
Ginger Holdren,
Yes.
Daniel McIntyre,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes.
All right. Rules and bylaws is adjourned. Mike.
Sorry, I was loading the dishwasher. I have nothing.
Hey, it's time for good night, John Boy.
Yes. Absolutely. You guys have a great night.
You too, man.